Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I'm the museum educator here at the Transcona Museum. Welcome to the third day of Craft With Us Sports Week. Today we will be making a baseball necklace out of a washer. So for this craft, you will need scissors and some type of string. I have a kind of cord um, here, but you can use yarn or anything you have. String and scissors to cut the string with. You're going to need a washer. I have this kind of washer, but you can use whatever you have. A couple paint brushes and red, white, and black paint. The black paint is optional, but you will need the red and white, and a pencil just to do some tracing. All right. So let's get started. Let me just move some things out of the way. All right. So we're going to start here. I just have all of my paint on a paper towel as my kind of paint tray. Make sure you are working on a surface that you can get paint on just in case you spill or anything. I already have a washer painted and it's semi-dry. Make sure, well, the first thing you're gonna do is paint both sides of your washer white. It might take a couple of coats. Sometimes the metal still shows through, but that's completely up to you if you want to do that. Make sure that your washer is almost completely dry before we put on our next coat of paint. Otherwise, it can smudge and, cause some issues. So you'll definitely want to wait until it's completely dry, and that's why I've already painted one side of this washer here. So it's mostly dry. So I'm just gonna take it off. There we go. All right. So here we have my washer that's completely dry and painted white on one side. I didn't paint the other side yet, but I'm gonna do that at the end. All right. So the next step after painting your washer white and waiting for it completely to dry, you're going to kind of trace two lines, like that would be where you're going to put the red arrows that are on a baseball, or I guess the baseball's threading. So I'm going to trace it in sort of a curved line that curves towards the outside of the washer. Or sorry, I guess it curves towards the inside of the washer. My mistake. You can see here, I've just kind of traced lines so you can kind of map out where you're going to put your red paint, which is the baseball's threading. You don't have to do the lines super dark either, because they might show through a bit. You could also paint them over if there's any that shows through after we're done. All right, so then take your red paint, and I suggest a small paintbrush. To paint, when painting your washer white, you can use a bigger paintbrush, whatever you prefer, but definitely a smaller paintbrush with a fine tip end when painting on the red arrows, just because you don't want them too thick and kind of start to overlap with each other, or not have room to fit a lot of them because your paintbrush is too thick. So I'm just going to dip my brush in some red paint that I have here. And I'm going to start carefully. Make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. Start drawing arrows towards me. So, all right, and you're going to do one line on the side of the pencil line you drew and one line on the other side of the pencil line you drew. They don't have to be perfect, but here's how I'm doing it. So you're just going to keep doing that, making sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. I've been able to fit about 5 arrows on my one side. It depends on how fine your paintbrush is, how thick you end up putting them on, but mine has 5 on the one side. So there we are on the one side, and I'll quickly paint the other. Transcona has quite an extensive baseball history, actually. There have been many different baseball teams. Obviously, we have the Transcona Baseball Stadium, which was opened in 1954 and on August 30th, and it cost $35,000 to build. There are actually quite a few Transconians who are inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame. Some of the inductees include Joe Tears, Jerry Marcotte, who was named the most notable player in the Greater Winnipeg Senior Baseball League in 1956. There was Andy Alexiuk, Mike Genthon. Many Transconians are inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame. All right. So we have our red lines painted in. It's okay if you can still see the pencil marks. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. And you can also do the same on the other side of the washer, like I did on this one. That's up to you if you want to or not, depending on if your washer might flip around while you're wearing it or if just one side is going to face outward. So I'm just going to let the red paint dry a slight bit. But I do have some very cool photographs of different baseball teams that have played in Transcona or represented Transcona throughout the years. We have actually a lot of baseball photos in our collection. So here you can see we have a mostly women's team. And here we have a male team. And here we just have a little news article, and this is Paul Martin. Paul Martin was named the greatest Transconian not too long ago, and he was actually a popular right outfielder, and he was the popular choice for the office of president of the Transcona Senior Baseball Club. All right, so once that's mostly dry, we're going to use the black paint if you want to paint in your favorite number. Maybe you play baseball and you want to put in your jersey number, or maybe you play another sport and you have a jersey number that you always use. Maybe you want to put in your initials. See here I have the number 10. Do whatever you'd like. I'm going to put in the number 11. So you can put it at the top or the bottom, whichever you feel like. I'm going to put mine at the top. So once again, using a thin paintbrush, just so that nothing smudges. If you don't have black paint or and you want to put in a number or your initials or whatever you're going to do, you could also use a Sharpie, but just make sure your paint is completely dry. Otherwise, it kind of moves the paint out of the way. All right. So here we have our baseball washer, the number 11. We've got our red threading. And now you can feel free to paint the back of the washer in the same way, uh, or not, do whatever you'd like. But you're going to cut a string to whatever length you'd like it, depending on how long you want your necklace to sit. I'm going to cut this a bit shorter, it's a bit too long. All right, and then you're just going to make sure that your number is dry before you thread the necklace through, just so the necklace doesn't, or the cord doesn't rub up against the paint. All right, so then you're just going to thread it through the hole of the washer, and you're just going to tie the end. Make sure that your string is long enough to fit your neck, or maybe you want to wear it as a bracelet or an anklet. Just make sure you size it to wherever you're going to put it before you tie it. All right, so tied it. Just going to cut off the excess. All right, so here you have your baseball washer necklace with maybe your favorite number on it or your initials. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this last day of Craft With Us Sports Week. Join us next week for Digging History Week. On Monday, we will be making edible dirt. On Wednesday, we will be making our own fossils, and Friday we will be making pinch pots. So I will be here on Facebook Live on 2 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but starting on Monday, we are also offering in-person crafting. So if you would like to come in and make edible dirt or make fossils or make pinch pots in person with me at the museum, pre-register online. You do have to be vaccinated, or children under 12 who are not able to get vaccinated must be accompanied by a fully vaccinated household member. So make sure you pre-register. We have limited space, and we have 3 different times during the day to come. One is from 10 to 10:45, the others from 1 to 1:45, and 3 to 3:45. So if any of those times work for you, definitely register, because I'd love to see you to craft with you. I hope you enjoyed Sports Week. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.